Hey guys, welcome to part one of our new series. We're talking about depression this week, and that's a pretty kind of depressing topic. It's almost depressing to say the word depression, and yet what I'm learning, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a dad of three girls, they're 11, 10, and 7. What I'm learning is, and it's not really around this topic, but around other topics, you can't avoid topics. You can't avoid uncomfortable topics. You've got to address them. You've got to talk about them. You've got to bring them up, because if we don't bring them up, then guess what? They're going to sit in people's heads, and either individuals by themselves becoming very lonely are going to try to deal with them, getting deeper and deeper into whatever is challenging them and they're struggling with, or they will talk about their challenges and their issues and whatever it might be with people who are not going to give the best advice, right? Who are not going to help them the most. What I've actually heard is, in terms of talking to your kids about different issues, and once again, it's not depression, but other things, right? You want to be the first one to ever talk to your kid about that subject, whatever it might be, right? Because first impressions, leave the greatest impression, right? That's kind of that person's view of it, the kind of the foundational view of it from then on. So I want to talk about depression this week because I know whether somebody out there might be clinically depressed, like really depressed, or just sad at times, or just wake up every once in a while feeling lonely, right? Wherever you are on the spectrum, if you're ever on the spectrum, I'm on the spectrum at times. Absolutely. I wake up not wanting to get out of bed sometimes, for sure. There are times when life feels really hard. Sometimes it's just one day. Sometimes it's entire seasons. And I think the first thing that we have to say in part one of this series, the first thing that we have to say is that it exists and that most of us struggle with it, that I absolutely struggle with getting down, right? I don't know if a psychologist would call it depression or not, right? But there are definitely times we struggle with getting down. And if we don't come out and we don't talk about it, then as I just said in the beginning of this, then it's not going to be dealt with very well. And if you don't deal with it very well, you deal with it poorly, right? There's no middle ground. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And I really believe that's the truth. And the final thought that I want to have just on this very first part of the series is that to me, it's all anchored in hope, right? We say there's a phrase, the anchor of your soul, right? If your soul is a big ship, right, and you're out at sea and the waves are tossing you around, right? What is the anchor that you're able to put down so that the waves don't blow you completely off course? What is the anchor for your soul? And I believe that is what you're hoping in, right? You're putting the stability, the desire to have stability, you're putting hope in something. I mean, I'm defining hope. I'm saying that hope is not just hoping something happens. We still haven't defined hope because we've used it in the definition, right? What hope really is a desire for stability, and we put that desire into something, someone, whatever it is, hoping, believing that person will give us stability, just like an anchor for a ship. And of course, we're going to talk about if you put your hope in yourself, in other people, in money, in your career, in your achievements and success and things around you, and anything that originates on this earth, right, that lives on this earth, then you're going to be let down. There's going to be a time when a big enough wave comes across and your anchor wasn't solid enough or strong enough to keep the ship stable, right? But what I want to say in part one is, one, most of us, maybe all of us, you could say, deal with certainly sadness. And sadness is okay in certain situations, but prolonged sadness, depression, disappointment, feeling alone, loneliness, these difficult internal feelings that maybe nobody else can see, but hold us down. And then the second part is that hope in the anchor of our soul, I believe, plays a key role in all this. And we're going to talk about it more during the rest of the week. But first, in part one, here's what I always want to challenge you to do something. Can you go away and can you pray? And can you say, God, in those moments when I deal with this depression or sadness or loneliness or anytime I feel like that, will you help me look to you? Help me go to the right people to be encouraged. And then number two, God, will you help me understand what is the anchor of my soul? What am I making the anchor for my ship, the soul of my ship, right? To help Keep me steady through the waves. And is it really you or is it something else? All right, so let's start there and we'll go on with the other parts, right, as we go forward this week. Thank you, guys.